Before we get started with Ellen and our panelists and for this presentation that we've got for you, we want to share some exciting news. I know it's been the buzz here this morning in the room, and several of our members had to leave, including our 2 Board of Trustees members who are with us today. You all know Susanna Denemy, who's a member here with us at Women in Philanthropy and one of my coworkers in the Office of Philanthropy. So this is such exciting news that we get to share with you all, and it maybe is not even out of the president's mouth yet, but today at noon in the Chad Perry III Grand Courtroom in the newly renovated College of Law building, President Capilouto is announcing that the university is naming the UK College of Law in honor of J. David Rosenberg to honor his gift of $20 million to the university.
Mr. Rosenberg's gift will provide endowments for scholarships, for faculty support, and for programmatic support. This is a day of celebration for the impact of philanthropy between this wonderful meeting, between what's happening in the College of Law. Right now, as we speak, this is very fresh news, and it's even a big philanthropy day out at Embassy Suites with the National Philanthropy Day banquet. So we just thought that you'd want to know that we celebrate the impact of philanthropy all throughout our campus today. Very exciting and special day. Yay.
Now I'd like to bring up Ellen Gish, who's going to lead us in this panel discussion with some of the donors that we have through our planned giving area.
All right. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Well, my name's Ellen Gish, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys today. I know this is your lunch break, so we'll try to keep this conversation fun and light. I'm with the University of Kentucky's Office of Philanthropy, Office of Gift and Estate Planning. Our job is to help you and other donors think about making charitable gifts to the university in the context of your family, your lifestyle, and your financial goals. I'm pleased to be joined today with 3 well-known Women in Philanthropy members who have agreed to share some of their experience in planned giving. All 3 of these women have outstanding professional careers and have served in numerous community leadership roles. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to give a very abbreviated introductions because what matters most for our conversation today is that they all love the University of Kentucky. So I'm going to try taking this off stand. There we go. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so Leslie Go Hagen is a 1977 graduate of the College of Arts and Sciences. She serves on the External Advisory Committee for the Lewis Honors College and is the chair of the college's Kentucky Can Campaign Committee. Leslie's also leading a capital campaign for UK's AD Pi sorority house and is a former member of the Women in Philanthropy Leadership Council. Bonnie Mays is a 1970 graduate of the College of Fine Arts. She sits on the Louisville, Kentucky Can Campaign Committee and represents Women in Philanthropy on UK's Kentucky Can Campaign Council. Bonnie is a former co-chair of the Women in Philanthropy Leadership Council, which I think most in the room are aware. And then finally, Myron Tobin graduated from UK in 1962 with a BS in Home Economics Education. She currently serves on the university's Kentucky Can Campaign Leadership Council and Steering Committee. She served on the university's Board of Trustees and was a founding member and former co-chair of Women in Philanthropy Leadership Council. So thank you guys for being part of this panel experiment today. Before we start our panel conversation, I have some more exciting news to share with you. Over the last 2 years, I've had the privilege of working with a couple who care deeply about the university and specifically about the great work of Women in Philanthropy. This couple, who prefers to remain anonymous, have recently documented their intent to leave the university an estate gift of $1 million to establish a new endowment for Women in Philanthropy. Okay. Once this gift is received, the endowment will generate approximately $40,000 a year to be awarded to UK students and faculty through the Women in Philanthropy grant-making program. This legacy gift will help carry forward the great work of women in philanthropy in perpetuity. So with that exciting news as a backdrop, I'd like to turn to our panel and talk about how easy and fun it is to get involved with planned giving. So I'm gonna come back around the podium here and sit with them. Let's see how that goes. Can you all see beyond the podium? Is it? All right. Well, I just, for those, we'll scooch it back. There you go. All right. Okay. So I think with all charitable giving conversations, the most important question really is why, right? Why do you want to make a legacy gift to the University of Kentucky? So we'll start with you, Leslie. If you would please tell us about the programs that you will impact through your planned gift and why that's important to you.
My husband Ron and I established the Go Hagen Global Citizen Fund, and the journey's been a long one with global citizenship for me. As a student at UK, I remember seeing the postings on the bulletin board of, see 12 countries in 21 days, and it's something I never took advantage of, and it took me about 20 years before I really got outside of the U.S. and to understand how important it is to see other cultures, whether it's the differences and similarities in whether it's the food or the religion or the history and politics and lifestyles, and that it's really important. Then as a member of a school board where they had global citizenship as a strategic imperative, to see how that played out for students, and in particular my son, who got the opportunity to do homestays in high school in China and Spain, and then went on to do study abroad in Buenos Aires and Cuba and college, and now has spent the last 3 years on 3 different continents, what that has done for him. So as have had the opportunity to serve the Lewis Honors College on their external advisory board, and the students there, now that it has changed from a honors program to an honors college due to the most generous gift of Tom Lewis, the honors college is able to attract even more of the best and brightest from Kentucky and all over the country to UK. But many of these students still need financial support. So when it comes to the opportunity to go to study abroad, what my husband and I were hoping that by establishing this endowed fund, we would be able to broaden an already incredible experience at the Honors College even more, and being able to support the students to go do study abroad.
Thank you, Leslie. Bonnie, I guess we've got 2 mics. Is that one on?
It's on.
Okay,
Oh.
I'll turn this on.
So, being a graduate of the School of Fine Arts, I learned very early that it is the fine arts that feeds our souls, no matter what business we're in. And I see many of you shaking your heads. So, the fine arts on the University of Kentucky campus is second to none in my heart. However, we have a building that has not changed much since it was built in 1947. My practice rooms, our room 17, our room 22, where the orchestra still to this day rehearses, hasn't changed. So not many alum from the College of Fine Arts go on to make the kind of money that would allow them to write a check for millions for a building. So with that thought in my mind, what I did not want to happen was I did not want any of our wonderful faculty members to be discouraged because of their environment there in that building. So I have established a special recognition for Outstanding Faculty Annual Award. And so the first one is going to be presented within 30 days, and I'm really excited about that because I don't want any of those faculty in the Fine Arts Department to be discouraged and leave.
Well, I guess I can tell you that my grandmother at one point said, well, Myra is a giver. And she warned my sisters that they'd have to watch out for me, that I'd give away everything I had, and they'd have to end up taking care of me. But because Mike Ritchie knows that I'm a giver, he encourages me to always invest in the Kentucky lottery, and maybe one day I'll win it, and I'll give it all to UK. So that's what he's counting on with this capital campaign. He wants me to keep buying tickets. So, but I don't know if you all remember, I don't know the name of it, that country and western song that says if you're in a hearse, you're not taking anything with you. I don't know. You all might know the name of it. So I don't think I'll be taking anything with me. And the one thing I was thinking about in giving is I'd like to take care of my family and my sisters and know that they had, you know, good health care. But what I don't want to do is to leave them money that they can go and do more shopping, because they need to downsize instead of increase their inventory. And so I think maybe they'll have a little bit to hopefully not to be able to live with good health care. So I guess I also wanted to say that at one point someone told me, and I think this is really true, that for parents who save all their lives and they want to give their children something, the best thing they can give them is a good education. But don't take away the joy of their making it on their own, because I think there's a certain amount of pleasure, and you just have to know that. And I just heard a comment made last night at a dinner that struck me, because I've experienced the same thing. I always liked antiques, and my nieces and nephews don't care a thing at all about them. And that's what was said last night. So they don't want your stuff. So, so what I'm leading into is I think you should give it all away. And that's what I have tried to think about, and think about it thoughtfully, that I do need an income stream for the rest of my life. So I looked at different vehicles that I could achieve that and still give money to the University of Kentucky. And the reason for the University of Kentucky is because I think it helps the entire state. And it doesn't just help one family, it helps multitudes of families. And so I looked at vehicles, and the first one that I used was the Charitable Remainder Trust. And I looked at getting a tax deduction, which is always wonderful, particularly around April 15th. And you can certainly get an immediate tax deduction, and you can also avoid capital gains tax if you give appreciated stock. So that was one reason I chose that as a vehicle. The other thing I did set up was a gift annuity. And for those of you who are investing now, you know you're lucky if you can earn 2 or 3% yield. And with a gift annuity, I've locked in a 7% yield, and that made a little bit more sense to me. And while the 3% may not consider appreciation on the stock, certainly I think a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So that's why I have chosen those two investment vehicles and have established scholarships in honor of my mother at the time, and also in memory of my father. And I've recently established a scholarship in the Human Environmental Sciences, or now CAFE, which is College of Agriculture, Food, and Environment. So, and also I've given some money to the Arboretum. You know, I think that's a wonderful thing, and we pass by it every day, and sometimes it's something people don't think about. And, you know, I've always admired Vicki, who's supported the rifle team. I've thought that, you know, isn't that wonderful that Vicki Bell and Wendell support the rifle team, because that's, I look for underappreciated things. And so I'm proud of anybody else who does that. I hope I didn't go.
No, that's wonderful, Myra. Thank you all three for sharing that insight into why you're giving to UK and what you've chosen specifically to do. So now we'll turn to the plan giving piece of this, which is how is everyone, however the three of you structured your gifts. And this is the neat thing about plan giving, and the neat thing about this panel, I think, is that all three of these women have taken a different approach that works for them, that works for their financial situation. And so anyway, we'll just dive in with Leslie.
Our approach is fairly simple. We wanted to endow a fund, and so we are, over the next 5 years, making an annual contribution to be able to reach the amount then where the money can start to be distributed from that. And then at end of life, we also have set up a bequest that will go to that fund. We'll certainly have the option, hopefully there will be a lot of years in between the end of the initial 5 years and the bequest, where we can also continue to add to the fund. But what was important to us about an endowed fund is that an endowment is forever. So even when you're gone, what you were passionate about in life can continue to have an impact on others, and in this case on UK students going on.
Thank you. Bonnie?
Okay. So I have set up an annual charitable insurance policy that I make contributions to, that will endow fund that at the end of life will go to the School of Music. So it was a very easy process working with Ellen. I had no idea it was so simple and that I could even do this, but it was a wonderful feeling. And I know Ellen asked me to share how that made me feel. So driving down here, I was trying to come up with a visual way to explain that. And you know, when the winter has been really brutal and you're so sick of boots, and that's where we're going right now actually, you're so sick of the ice storms and the cold, and you get to Naples and you walk out on the beach and you sit down in that chair and the sun, you know that feeling? That's how I felt. And we were at Starbucks. It's like, wow, I can do this. So don't be afraid to ask Ellen for help on how to structure something that fits your pocketbook and your income and your plan, because I tell you, these students need it. Students for years to come will need it. So.
Right. And Bonnie, just a little more about the way a charitable insurance policy works. So Bonnie is going to pay premiums on that policy for the next 10 years, right? And those premiums will add up, you know, to a certain amount, but the death benefit that the university will receive, you know, at the end of her life, which again is hopefully many years from now, will be about double the amount she's putting into the insurance policy. And Bonnie, you're still working, right? And so you have a lot of income stream right now, and so you're getting tax deductions for those premium payments. And this type of gift made sense for you.
Right. It is a win-win. It makes lots of sense, and I would never have thought of that. So, yes, works. It works.
Yeah, so that's a neat, and Leslie, you're taking a more straightforward approach with a bequest. And, you know, in a bequest, you can, you set it up in your will or your trust documents. It's revocable. So, you know, the reality is with planned giving, it's inherent that life is going to take, you know, one turn or another, and we understand that, you know, the gifts may change over time, but by documenting with the university a commitment to leave something to the university, by doing that today, the university is able to count that in our campaign totals, which builds momentum for the campaign, and also to plan for the fact that that gift will be coming. So that's really wonderful. And then Myra, I think you've already touched on the structure of gifts that you've used. And so Myra's gifts are what we kind of generally in planned giving call life income gifts. So Myra made a gift to the university when she established both her charitable remainder. Well, okay, so she made a gift when she established her charitable remainder trust, and then she made another gift when she established her charitable gift annuity. And that money is being invested, and she is receiving income off that money for the rest of her life. In the case of her charitable remainder trust, the amount fluctuates, right? Because it's based on the market and the value of her trust. With regard to the charitable gift annuity, she, as she mentioned, the gift annuities have a locked-in rate, and so the university commits to make that payment to you for however long you may live, and then at the end of your life, with both regard to the charitable remainder trust and the gift annuity, whatever's left will come to the university to endow the various funds that Myra has so generously created. So, do you have more to say about that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Does anyone out there have any questions?
I just want the stock market to keep going up because with the charitable remainder trust, it does depend upon the stock market. But I feel lighter. My shoulders just feel lighter having done this. I guess that's what I could say.
Great. And with respect to Leslie and Bonnie's gifts, you know, they are doing something where they're making annual gifts today, smaller annual gifts today, so that they can start to see the impact of their basically the impact their endowment will have down the road. They're starting it today by making annual gifts, and then when they're no longer here, the endowment will kick in and basically act in their place to continue that. So, does anyone out there have questions for anyone on our panel? Any questions about planned giving or about the various funds they're creating here at UK? Yes? Yes. Right, and that, sure. So tell me your name. It's okay, wonderful. Okay, great. So we have an estate planning attorney, Ann Crahill, here. And no, the point she's making is very true, and that is if you have a qualified retirement plan and it is earning, if you leave that at the end of your life, if you leave that to your children, they will have to pay income tax on those distributions. If you leave all or a portion of that retirement plan to a charity, hopefully the University of Kentucky, the university will receive that and will not pay any income tax. So, because we're a charity, it's a charitable gift, And so that's a wonderful way to, as you look at your various assets and you're planning to make some gifts and to leave certain things to charities, to leave certain things to your children, looking first at sort of those qualified retirement plans, that's a wonderful way to make a charitable gift. And then in addition, and you've probably familiar with the Charitable IRA Rollover, right? So the Charitable IRA Rollover is a way to make gifts while you're still alive from your qualified retirement plans. Once you hit 70 and a half, you can use your required minimum distribution to make a gift, and you don't even recognize the income, but it satisfies the required minimum distribution. So there's lots and lots of neat, I don't know, plan giving techniques that we can talk about if you're interested, and explore ways to sort of, start setting up your legacy here at UK today. So does anyone else on the panel have some more thoughts?
One thing that I have found in retrospect, and I try to encourage young people, is just like you need a will when you're 20 years old or before, it's never too soon to start your planned giving. Even if you're in the middle of your career, whether your plan is for a 529 education trust or for how you would like for whatever assets you have to be distributed, make a will and do some estate planning in your 20s, revise it in your 30s, your 40s, 50s. I waited too late, but I think I was 60-ish. But anyway, I just think this is something that most people don't. It's always they're going to do it tomorrow, and I think today is when you do it. And I see Kiki smiling. I know she's already done it. She's ahead of the game. But that's what I would like to leave with you as a parting comment.
Right. And
now is the time.
Now, and I'd be curious, because we have a great group of professional and women in the room, who out here other than Anne could assist with financial planning or estate planning? Is just a show of hands. So we just, to the extent we have folks in the room that might be able to help you, and if you want to work within your Women in Philanthropy network, that would be wonderful. So, Ann Bolton, did you raise your hand there? Jessica Trader here, and Ann, tell me your last name again. Oh, shoot. Well, we also in gift and estate planning can provide some free advice on charitable giving. It applies not just to gifts to UK, but it can apply to, we have lots of folks that want to maybe leave something to UK, something to their church, something to the Humane Society, something to their kids, and so we can help you start a conversation and think about everything in the context of your lifestyle and your goals. So, okay, great. Tanya? Hi.
On Bonnie's insurance policy, so there's a premium, which means that someone set the premium. Is it age factor, so it would be less expensive? How would that work?
Yes. So with the charitable insurance policies, yes, the premium rates tend to go up with age. And you can, the other thing is they've typically got sort of 3 health status. So standard, preferred, and then I guess there's a substandard. So a combination of your age and then that health status, but mainly the age. And we also, we have a lot of folks who are doing 2-life policies. So if you and your husband are interested in both, being insured under the policy, that tends to bring the premiums down quite a bit. So we can always, we work with insurance agents in town, and we can run illustrations. All we need are birth dates and we can, and tell us what amount you're thinking about, and we can run illustrations and let you know what it would cost. And again, those premium payments are deductible, so it's kind of a neat gift. So, yeah, Myra.
Just one other thing too, in addition to planned giving, and again, as you're reviewing your estates, you can make a gift today for whatever you would like to invest in. And in addition to the planned giving that I have done, I've given quite a bit to the College of Music. I endowed a scholarship in memory of my nephew, Andy Schrecker, and I've given quite a bit to athletics along the way. And the reason I tell you that is because I think there's it's not too early to give, and it's good to give early because you can see the evidence of your gift in the scholarship recipients and watch their careers develop. And that's been a real pleasure for me to see some of these young people that I've invested in their future. And I think it's very gratifying and to me, and I think it could be to any of you. So give today.
Yeah, Bonnie, did you have
No,
another?
I was passing the mic.
Passing the mic to me. Okay.
Well, I just will say one thing. In the very first meeting of Dr. Capilouto's capital campaign meeting, it was so organized, and it impressed me so much when they broke down, this is how we're going to raise this $2.1 billion. Is that right? I can't even think of it. But it was like, we need so many people to give this much millions. We need so many people, all the way down to we need this many people to give $50,000. So it's not just the big amounts. If you will just start giving, even small amounts, it makes an incredible difference and has such a positive impact on everything that's going on here at our great university.
Wonderful. All right, any other questions? So if not, I want a round of applause, please, for our panelists. Thank you for agreeing to come up here and share your story. As you leave later today, we have some planned giving brochures out there, and my business cards are out there if anyone wants to, has questions that they want to ask in a less public space. Please feel free to call. And thank you all for the great work you're doing through Women in Philanthropy. It's really, really neat. So, all right, enjoy the end of lunch. Thank you.